So, a very good evening everyone. Am I audible? Am I live? Let me just check. A very good evening, Let me check. Alright, so we are live right now. A very good evening everyone, and welcome back to another very special episode, very special session for banking and finance related current affairs for the month of January 2024, and I am your friend and host CA Ishan Gupta. Let me welcome you all with a very exciting news today. So we are running our birthday sale. Oliveboard is running our birthday sale, that is till 8th of August. Till 8th of August you can purchase any of our courses. Up to 50% discount is there. So you can go check it out on our website, that is Oliveboard, and you would be very excited to know by 50% discount is there. This is a birthday bash for you all. So now let us begin. In today's session we are going to discuss about the banking and finance related affairs for the month of January. So first news that we are going to cover is the UPI related transactions. The UPI related transactions hit a new record with 18.23 lakh crores. This is the numerical value. This is the monetary value. In December, that is 2023, which is 54% higher. What is UPI payments? Ultimately, you must have observed that since 2016, once internet revolution took over India, thanks to none other than Mota Bhai, what we call him, that is Ambani ji. In 2016, internet revolution took over India. It was by surprise that internet was suddenly introduced in such a manner that 3G, 4G, such internet services were provided for free by Jio, that is Reliance Industries, for many months. According to my understanding, it was for 5 to 6 months. After that, there has been a boom in the online transactions. When we are talking about online applications that are coming up, online startups that are there, unicorns have started to crop up in India, and a lot more effect is over there. That is, internet penetration is in India. One of the effects can also be seen on the online banking or online payment mechanisms that are there. Online payment mechanisms that are there, India is the largest, not even the second, not even the third, it is the largest when it is in comparison to the online payments, thanks to UPI, that is Unified Payments Interface, which is being constructed, an interface is being constructed by the government of India in a secure manner, that the volume has increased to rupees 18.23 lakh crores, which is even 54% higher than the corresponding last year data. So the volume of UPI transactions continues to rise month after month, as the total monthly transaction touched to 18.23 lakh crores in December last year, which is 54% higher than the corresponding data of 2022. So in December 2022, they are saying that from that comparison in December 2023, it is more than 50% higher. The volume is more than 50% higher. The monetary value is more than 50% higher. So you can just imagine how much online transactions are taking place in India. So key information over here, in terms of number of transactions, the figure has reached 12.02 billion. If you are talking about transaction number, India right now, no doubt, is the absolute king when it comes to online transactions. You know, there were times when there was a doubt, when people used to doubt whether digital payments or digital systems would be successful in India. But at the present moment, people or you can say governments, the central banks, banking agencies all around the world are taking the example of India when it comes to online payments. And this is due to one of the major reasons is the statistics that is coming up. 0 to billion transactions are taking place. For example, even if you have to pay a sabzi wala, a vendor, vegetable vendor, a auto wala, you are using online payments, UPI payments, witnessing 42% higher than the previous year figures. It is noteworthy that this transaction amount had hit 17.40 lakh crores in November and 17.16 lakh crores in October. Also, the number of UPI transactions hit 11.24 billion in November, 11.41 billion in October. So ultimately you can see that there is a steady growth in the transactions. The trajectory from this data only you can see it is 11.24, 11.41 and then there is 12.02. So ultimately the trend is going upwards only. UPI crosses 100 billion mark in 2023. The transactions through unified payment interface platform crossed 100 billion mark in the calendar year 2023 to close around 118 billion as per the data shared by National Payment Corporation of India. So what is NPCI? Ultimately what is happening is before UPI or NPCI introduced UPI, ultimately NPCI is the mother body or the umbrella you can say, which is covering there must be a spelling mistake, let me correct it. It is ultimately the mother organization which is covering UPI payments, okay, which is covering ultimately the UPI payments. All the security features, transaction related activities are being governed by NPCI, that is National Payment Corporation of India. So what they have done is, before introduction of UPI or a single way of conducting the transactions, there were many different portals through which online transactions were conducted. So all these transactions have been unified at a common platform and have been simplified through this. So these are very high statistics that are being shown over here. This marks a 60% growth as compared to 74 billion UPI transactions recorded in 2022. So you can just imagine how much transactions are taking place. It is competing with organizations like Visa, the world's largest card network. You must have seen Visa debit card or Visa credit cards. There must have been mentioned Visa over there. So it charges a nominal fees on the transactions. It is the largest card network that is there, processes on an average 750 million transactions per day. And India, through its UPI technology, is in a race to compete with such organizations. UPI is expected to surpass MasterCard's daily transaction volume of 440 million sometime this year, going by 60% growth rate. So we are in the direction to beat ultimately this organization. Next news coming up is HDFC Bank goes live with NPCI developed UPI in secondary market platforms. So ultimately there is a secondary market. What is secondary market? Let me explain with a bit of example. So there is a stock market, you must be aware of this. Stock market can be understood by there is a primary market. What is primary market? Where the shares or securities or for the first time they are being sold. भाई जब IPO वगैरह आ रहा होता है ना, IPO वगैरह आ रहा होता है, that is the first time the security is sold. It is known as the primary market. And when after that there is a buying and selling of securities that takes place, this is known as the secondary market. For example, let me elaborate this. When a company is introducing the shares or the securities in the market, or selling the securities in the market for the first time, and there is first time subscription, then it is known as the primary market. And when after the shares have been allotted, after the securities have been provided, after it has been allotted or issued to the respective owner, after that when the buying and selling of securities takes place, it is known as the secondary market. For example, I was having an interaction with my students and they informed me that a recent development is taking place, that IPO for Ola, they mentioned Ola, is getting listed, and the IPO for Ola is coming there. So all the people that would be applying for Ola subscription for the first time, that is known as the primary market. But the subscriptions that follow after that is done in secondary market, that is buying and selling of securities. So here we are going to talk about the secondary market platforms. HDFC Bank has executed transactions via NPCI's UPI payment app as part of UPI for secondary market facility, which went live. So ultimately there is a collaboration between them, that UPI transactions for secondary market can also be conducted with ease. The move follows markets regulator SEBI. So ultimately no approval, if nothing can be done if SEBI's approval is not there for listed or stock market securities. So the move follows markets regulator SEBI. Let me give you the full form. Securities Exchange Board of India, it is the apex body for transactions related, allowing the facility through the UPI app developed by the National Payment Corporation of India, again the same organization, the mother company. Clearing corporations will directly process payouts to these clients on T+1 basis. Effective January 1st, SEBI and stock exchanges permitted trading in cash segments through block mechanisms and on optional basis for the secondary market on the lines of application. Let me explain what is, yes, here is the definition. Supported by the blocked amount for primary market, where investors' funds will continue to remain in their savings account, with the required funds being blocked instead of investors having to upfront transfer the amount to the broker's account for placing trades. What does this mean? What does this mean? Let me elaborate this. What happens is, in the primary markets, for example, let's say, again taking the example of Ola or any IPO that is coming up, let us take the example of such company. So I want to apply in the IPO of such a company, then I would have to tell my broker or through my broker firm, मेरे को अपनी ऐप पे बुक करना पड़ेगा कि भाई कहाँ पे अप्लाई कहाँ पे करना है. तो उसके ऊपर ऑप्शन आता है ऐप, देयर इज अ ऑप्शन in my brokerage app that I have to apply for IPO. What happens is the amount does not get debited from my bank account. The amount is not debited from my bank account. वो पैसा कटता नहीं है मेरे कैपिटल अकाउंट से बैंक अकाउंट में, वो बैंक अकाउंट में ही पड़ा रहता है. Please understand this. Once I have applied for the IPO, I being a retail investor, once I have applied for the IPO, that money is not debited from my account, but the amount equivalent to such IPO is being blocked. वो पैसा ना ब्लॉक कर दिया जाता है, वो पैसे को मैं इस्तेमाल नहीं कर सकता कहीं पे भी. That money gets blocked in the account, my bank account. The amount gets blocked over there, and that money cannot be used until the allotments of the securities are made. So this is what they're talking about, supported by the blocked amount for primary markets. When the IPOs come out, such blocking facility is over there. During the pilot stage, investors can block funds in their bank accounts, which will only be debited by clearing corporations after trade confirmations during settlement period. So what are they saying is that they want to introduce such blocking mechanism, such blocking mechanism in the secondary market also. And now what happens in secondary market? For example, let's say I am a investor in the secondary market. मुझे शेयर खरीदना है या बेचना है, ठीक है. अब मैं जब खरीदने जा रहा हूँ, when I am there to buy the shares, I will put out my bid. उसके अंदर ना मतलब bid option होता है. There are buyers. If you must have seen the series of Harshad Mehta scam 92, there are people like buying and selling the securities. So if I'm buying, I have to instantly pay the money. One option is that. But in the pilot stage, what they're trying to say is investors can block funds in their bank accounts. They can block a certain money in their bank account. It is not debited instantly, or you do not have to transfer the money to the broker. There's one option. Let me elaborate in a more bit detail. There's one option that, for example, I am the investor. I debit my bank account, transfer the money to the broker, and then I can purchase the shares in the secondary market. That is what is happening right now. Now what they are mentioning is, as per the pilot stage, you do not have to debit your bank account. आपको ब्रोकर को ट्रांसफर करने की या उस अकाउंट में, डीमैट अकाउंट में पैसा भेजने की जरूरत नहीं है. All you simply can do in this pilot stage that your amount, equivalent amount, will get blocked. You cannot use that amount from your bank account in any other purpose. The amount will be debited from your bank account only when you receive a confirmation in the stock market that the settlement or the buying and selling of the security has taken place. Only then the account will be debited and the settlement will take place. So तभी transfer करना है. For example, many times it happens is you put your bid in the stock market and no purchasing and your trade does not get executed. Then in such a case, your money will be unblocked, or the money can lie in your bank account only. You don't have to do anything in that. So this is what they are talking about over here, that HDFC goes live with NPCI developed UPI in the secondary market platforms. Next, initially HDFC Bank and ICICI Bank customers will be able to avail this facility, and HDFC Bank, HSBC, ICICI Bank, Yes Bank are acting as sponsor banks for clearing corporation and exchanges. So they are starting with these transactions, and slowly and steadily they will introduce other participants also. Next, what is the meaning of UPI? Again, Unified Payment Interface is a digital real-time payment system developed by NPCI and regulated by the Reserve Bank of India. Again, Reserve Bank of India is an apex institution, NPCI below that, and others. It was launched in April 11th, 2016. I still remember when such technology was introduced. I had no idea how things were working in the digital world, how digital payments were working. I had no idea. But now, due to advancement in the technology, advancement in the payments, you can imagine that how much volume of transactions are taking place. Even our coaching fees is collected through online mechanisms only. So what are the simple features of UPI? Simplified transfers. So it is the simplest form of transfer of money that can take place. Simple transfers of money take place over here. Again, for a non-technical person like me also, I am a non-technical person. I can teach you hardcore finance, I can teach you accountancy, I can teach you all this, but I am not a technical person. So for a non-technical person also, it contains such simple features such as UPI uses receipt identifiers, like UPI ID is there. A unique identity is generated. Through that UPI ID you can transfer money. Mobile numbers from QR codes or virtual payment addresses, eliminating the need for bank accounts or account numbers. But there is also options in UPI payments that you can also transfer money through bank accounts also. Ease of use, no need to enter bank details or sensitive information for each transaction. At every point of time, you do not need to enter the different types of passwords or transaction generating keys or something like that. It is done in the simplest manner. Consistent PIN is required. A uniform PIN, UPI transaction PIN across different apps enhances interoperability and allows 24/7 transactions. So money transfer can be done easily. It has led to the increase in volume of transactions also. Digital public infrastructure is there. UPI facilitates seamless transactions for merchants and customers without any transaction cost, and even no transaction costs are involved. There are other mechanisms also, for example NEFT, RTGS. I have given a slight mention about such transactions in the coming slides also. But some of the transactions, RTGS, NEFT, or there are demand drafts, these require a certain service charge by the bank. But UPI payments, there is no such charges. Technology integration is there, utilizes immediate payment services, IMPS, Aadhaar enabled payment systems to ensure smooth account to account payments. So various technology integrations are done. Transaction types supports push pay and pull receive transactions. So what is push pay? I can give you my the QR code. I can give you my QR code and ultimately you can make the payment on such QR code. This is one way of receiving the payment. Another way is a person from the other side, he can send me the UPI code and he can ask me to make the payment. Over the counter or barcode payments are there. Recurring payments like utility bills, you must have seen there is an option over there for recurring items, recurring bills. Those transactions that take place again and again, there are mentions for such transactions also. And subscriptions. Peer-to-peer requests allow scheduling and paying for requests based on convenience. That is, you can easily transfer money to your friend also. Easy. This is a very easy to understand technology. Then there is National Payment Corporation of India, NPCI, is an umbrella organization for operating retail payments and settlement systems in India. So ultimately all this UPI and technology falls under NPCI. It was established by RBI and the Indian Banks Association under the Payment and Settlement System Act 2007 to create a robust payment and settlement infrastructure in India. Next, main promoter banks: Punjab National Bank, State Bank of India, Canara Bank, Union Bank of India, Bank of Baroda, ICICI Bank Limited, Bank of India, HSBC, Citibank, HDFC Bank Limited. All these are promoter banks. The formation of this is totally non-profit. It is incorporated as a non-profit company. That is, non-profit companies are formed under Section 8 of Companies Act 2013 to provide infrastructure for physical and electronic payment and settlement systems. So this organization, that is National Payments Corporation of India, is completely what? It is completely not for profit. Innovations focused on bringing innovations into retail payment systems through technology to improve efficiency and widen the reach of payments. Ultimately, new technology and safety measures are being introduced in this also. A regulatory board includes nominees from RBI and 10 core promoter banks, that is these banks, headquartered in Mumbai. So there are various nominees, including nominees from RBI. Now here comes the information for comparison. There is RTGS, that is real-time transfer that takes place. There is RTGS, that is real-time transfer that takes place. NEFT, there is IMPS, there is UPI. These are a bit more newly introduced. These are traditional. These are more of traditional approaches where you have to approach the bank. You have to give them specific instructions and they will make the transfer on your behalf. So this is more specific in nature. IMPS, UPI, these are more simpler in nature and more newly introduced. So what is all payments in India are regulated by RBI. So whether it being this, it comes under RBI. It can have another branches. For example, there is RBI, then there is NPCI, and then there are all the payments under NPCI. But it does not mean that NPCI is handling all the transactions. Only a specific part of the transactions, that are the retail transactions, are being transferred to NPCI. Retail transactions are taking place. You might be observing that all the small transactions are made through UPI payments. There are limits. For example, let us check. It is operated by RBI, NPCI. Minimum transaction is 2 lakh. Here the minimum transaction is 111 rupee. There is no limit for maximum transaction. You can make transfers of crores of rupees also through RTGS. No limit, but depends upon the bank. 5 lakh and 1 lakh. Through UPI payments, it is 1 lakh rupees. Maximum can be transferred. So small retail amounts of transactions are being transferred to NPCI. Maximum 30 minutes, immediate transfers are there. Next, the next news highlighting is India Ratings revised PNB Housing Finance NCD ratings from AA to double A plus. So what is ratings, and whether when we are moving from double A to double A plus, whether it is good or it is a bad situation. So ultimately what happens is, any security, let me give you a simple example of mutual fund, or any security that is being issued or is operating in the market, any security that is being issued or it is operating in a market has a rating done by the rating organizations. Ratings are done, whether there is any risk involved, liquidity risk regarding that also is evaluated, the credibility is there, many such rating is done. For example, you can also say, while you are taking a credit card, भाई जब हम credit card भी ले रहे होते हैं ना, तब भी इंसान की credit rating होती है, आप समझ रहे हो? तो credit rating is there. There is a rating that is done even to the securities also. For example, in mutual funds, there is rating for in stars. Rating is in star. 5-star rating is the best, and 1 star or 0 star is there. So ratings is being done. Rating provides, the better the rating, the better security, or the better the lower the risk is there. So continuously these securities need to get their ratings revised. So India Ratings an organization revised the rating of the NCD, that is non-convertible debentures, that is the non-convertible debentures which were issued by PNB Housing Finance. These securities were issued by what? These securities were issued by PNB Housing Finance, and the ratings have been revised from double A to double A plus, that is, the ratings have been improved. So PNB Housing Finance, a housing finance company, said that India Ratings and Research, that is IND-RA, has upgraded the rating of the company's non-convertible debentures. The ratings of non-convertible debentures have been increased to, that is IND double A plus from IND double A with stable outlook. Now what is another, there is definition over here which is covered, which is non-convertible debentures. Let me take a few seconds and explain you this also. This is again a form of security that is there. This is again a form of security that is there. What is happening over here is, what is a non-convertible? For example, there is a company which issues debentures to the investor, and in exchange it gets the money. For example, I am the company, I am issuing the debenture and I will get money from you all, that is the investor, I will get money from you all, okay? So debenture I will issue and I will get the money. At the time of maturity, there are some type of security which provide a feature of convertibility. That is, whether the investor at the time of maturity would want to have the money refunded to it, redeemed to it, or the investor would like to convert such money into equity share or other securities of the company. This is known as convertible debenture or convertible security, that is at the time of redemption or at the time of maturity, one security can be converted. What I am trying to say is, it can be converted into another security. But what is a non-convertible debenture? In non-convertible debenture, what happens is, I am issuing you the debenture, I am taking your money. At the time of maturity, there is no option of convertibility. I have to give you back your money only. So these are non-convertible debenture. I have to give back your money. There is no option of converting the money into something else. Next, further, IND-RA said that NCD's limit has been split into bank loans, and NCD and IND-A double plus rating has been assigned to the bank loans. Next, now there are certain news that is coming up. For example, RBI grants payment aggregator license to Tata Pay. So what is a payment aggregator? What is a payment aggregator? Let me explain you. Here is a diagram to explain you what exactly is a payment aggregator. So what a payment aggregator does is, Payment aggregator are entities that enable e-commerce, that is online, e meaning online, electronic commerce, that is sale purchase, websites, mobile apps and merchants to accept various payment instruments from customers for completion of their payment obligations. So ultimately what happens is, let me explain you. For example, there is an e-commerce store. Let me take the color of red. There is an e-commerce store, let's say XYZ, and you are purchasing a certain item from such e-commerce store. Now what happens is, usually there is a tendency, if there is some uneasiness, or if you detect that the payment process is not as smooth as you expect, then what happens is the customer might not make the payment. It is ultimately all about making the payment experience of the customer to be easy, smooth and to the best of the possible scenario. So ultimately, when for example, there is an e-commerce store that is there, customer has reached the final destination of making just the payment. When the experience or the payment mechanisms or the options of making payment are very less, then the customer might not execute such transaction. Here is where the role of such payment aggregators come in. भाई पेमेंट एग्रीगेटर को कुछ नहीं करना है, पेमेंट एग्रीगेटर को बस क्या करना है, कस्टमर के लिए चीजें इजी करनी है. आर एंटिटीज दैट इनेबल ई कॉमर्स वेबसाइट एक्सेट्रा टू एक्सेप्ट वेरियस पेमेंट इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स. अलग अलग जगह से पेमेंट आ रही है ना, लो पैसा पकड़ो, उसको इजी करो, मेक द प्रोसेस इजी फॉर द कस्टमर without the need for merchants to create a separate payment integration system on their own. You do not have to make your own systems, we will make the system for you, something like that. For example, just one second. For example, there are various payment gateways that are there. Card processing payment gateways is there, HDFC card is there, ICICI Bank, Axis Bank, Citibank, etc. others. Net banking solution, ICICI Bank, through you can make the online net banking payments. Then there is Citibank, IDFC Bank, etc. There are many. Again, there are many, unlimited. Might be we do not even know the exact amount. UPI apps, just we discussed, the UPI payment mechanism is there for making the payment, that is Paytm, PhonePe, GPay, Beam UPI apps are there. There are Paytm wallet, there are wallets, Paytm, MobiKwik, Freecharge, Jio Money, etc. So there are so many payment gateways. What the aggregator is doing is, the aggregator is ultimately making the process easier for the customer. So what the aggregator is doing is, look, Razorpay, there is, I cannot read this one, Cash Free, CC Avenue is there. So ultimately, these are payment aggregators which are accepting sources of payment from different mechanisms and providing a steady flow for the merchant. It is making easy for the customer also, for the merchant also. The merchant does not have to develop its own system. For example, let me explain you through Razorpay. Razorpay is very effective payment aggregator. What happens is, whenever you are trying to make an online payment, there are various apps that are getting associated with this Razorpay. So what they do is, they process your payment, they collect the payment from the customer. It is easy to pay. You can make the payment through any of the payment gateways that are mentioned over here, all these gateways. So customer is there is a merchant or a vendor, there is a Razorpay. So ultimately they are making the payment and they are transferring the payment to you, making the settlement and making the process easy is what payment aggregators are doing over here. So what is a payment aggregator? Again, are entities that enable e-commerce transactions. These are entities that enable e-commerce websites, e-commerce transactions, online payments, mobile apps, accept various payment instruments from customers for completion of their payment obligations. You might have seen, whenever you are making an online payment, there are many, if not one, there are many different methods of payment. Whichever the customer is more suitable to, he can make the payment through that mechanism. So payment gateway is there. Next, so what is the major news? What is the main news that we are talking about? RBI grants payment aggregator license to Tata Pay. So they are providing the license for Tata Pay to act as such aggregator. The Reserve Bank of India has granted a payment aggregator license to Tata Payments, Tata Group's digital payment app. This will help the firm facilitate e-commerce transactions through its platform. That is, it will make e-commerce transactions more effective. Tata Payments is held through Tata Digital, the group's subsidiary entity which houses its digital business. What they're trying to say is this Tata Group, then there is Tata Digital, then there is Tata Payments. This is what they're trying to explain over here. So this we have already covered. So these are the small different types of newses that are coming over here. We will cover in the next session. So with this, I would like to end the session for today. Again, thank you so much for the lovely evening today. I will meet you in the next session. Also remember, again, till 8th of August, there is discounts for up to 50% on our website. You can go have a look over there. And thank you so much. Meet you in the next session. Bye bye and take care.